Welcome back, everyone. We're going to be talking about none other than the OnePlus 8 versus the iPhone XS. And the iPhone XS has been out for a couple years now, came out in 2018, so it makes sense why, this might be a random comparison you might think, but honestly, there's still a lot of similarities and maybe even some pros for the XS too, who knows. But one of the bigger differences would definitely come down to the price tag. The iPhone, well, first of all, the OnePlus 8 cost me over $900 to buy, actually. This was the top tier model. They sold out of the base model, so I had to buy this one. And this one costs $799 for the base model, $899 for the top tier model. Whereas on the XS, you can actually pick one of these up for less than $500, I believe, definitely less than $550. So that's still a very good price. I mean, this phone is only one generation behind, and that's a killer price to pay for a phone like this. So I'll go ahead and leave both of these linked down in the description below so you can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, looking on the front, I'll go ahead and talk about, the iPhone XS first. This phone, like I stated, came out in 2018, at the end of 2018, so it's not like it's even that old of a phone, but it has a 5.8-inch Super Retina OLED display. It's 1125 by 2436. And it's really not that bad of a phone. It's not that bad of a panel. It has Force Touch on it, which is really cool. So you can Force Touch and hard press into something and get the details. I don't even know why it's not working right now. There we go. But it also has True Tone display. And if you guys don't know what True Tone is, basically it just adds a little bit of warmth into the display, which makes it look really, really cool. So I think that's an extremely awesome thing that the iPhone XS has going for it that a lot of other phones don't even have. Now the display, the bezel, there's not a lot of bezel around it, but you do have that notch up top, which is something that might, affect you a little bit. It might make you feel a little uncomfortable, but to me it's perfectly fine. I really don't even care anymore. So the way the display looks and everything, I think it's a thumbs up in my books for sure. Whereas on the OnePlus 8, it definitely, looks a little bit better than the iPhone XS for sure. You have a 6.55-inch Fluid AMOLED display. It's a 1080p display, so technically the resolution is a little bit worse on this than the iPhone XS, but like I said before, OnePlus makes pretty good 1080p panels, and this panel doesn't even if you just showed me this panel and you were like, oh, look at it, I would have probably assumed it was 1440p. I have no reason to think otherwise. It's a really good looking panel, but an extremely awesome thing about this display is that it does have a 90 hertz refresh rate on it, so you can just go enable it and it makes the screen look that much smoother. And the OnePlus 8 Pro does have 120 hertz, which is really cool, but I still think 90 hertz is extremely good for a ton of people. So definitely at the end of the day, the display is really good. You have very little bezel around it, and you have the hole punch display. So definitely the OnePlus 8 has a very good display on it. And when you kind of look at them side by side, you can kind of tell, the differences in size. And honestly, if you feel them both, I can't really tell which one is crazy big or anything. The OnePlus 8 is definitely longer, but it's definitely, slim too, which is nice. And you can definitely tell, in my opinion, I think the OnePlus 8 probably looks a little bit better. On the bottom, Lightning port on the iPhone XS, USB Type-C on the OnePlus 8. And on the back, glass backs on both. I do have a skin on my iPhone XS, but you have a triple camera setup on the OnePlus 8, but a dual camera setup on the XS, so you can definitely kind of see what's going on here. And I'll talk about the cameras in a second, but just keep this in mind. More camera sensors doesn't necessarily mean that it's a better camera overall, so kind of keep that in mind. So in terms of the outside, I think that really pretty much covers it up for the most part. Well, there's one more thing. They both have IP certification, but the weird thing is that apparently the unlocked version of the OnePlus 8 does not have IP certification. So I have IP68 dust and water resistance on the iPhone XS, but this one does not have any IP certification, which is extremely weird. So I don't know why that keeps happening, but it is something to consider at the end of the day. So my specific model might not have it, but the AT&T and I think T-Mobile, Verizon, whatever other models are, I think those ones have it. So I think that's a cool thing at the end of the day. So in terms of the outside, I think that really pretty much covers it up here. Now I'll go and hit on the software. Now, when it comes down to this thing, as I've stated before, iPhones probably end up lasting longer than a lot of Android counterparts, but OnePlus does a really good job at their software. So the OnePlus 8, is starting off with Android 10, and it's on Oxygen OS, which is really nice. I like this software a lot. But based off my experience and based on everything that I just looked at, I kind of think that the OnePlus 8 is going to be ending off at Android 13 based on everything that I've seen. There's no way to verify this or anything, but based off everything that I've seen, it's probably going to end off Android 13 since the OnePlus 5 and 5T are still supported. So with that being said, that's an extremely long supported phone cycle for sure, and I think this is still an extremely good phone when it comes down to the software. The software is clean and minimal, so for an Android phone, it's going to be lasting for a pretty long time in my opinion. However, even compared to something like the iPhone XS, which came out in 2018, this thing could have the potential of outlasting the OnePlus 8 still. So this thing started off with iOS 12, right now we're on iOS 13, And like I said, I don't know exactly when this thing is going to stop getting support. I don't know either one of these, exactly, but I would probably say that the iPhone XS is getting at least like 3 to 4 more versions of iOS, maybe at least 3, maybe 4 if we're lucky. So these could be, ending off the same year potentially. So it's not like if you get, this phone is going to be way lasting longer than this one, but just keep in mind that they could be ending around the same time, probably within a year within each other. But if anything, the iPhone XS is going to be outlasting the OnePlus 8 potentially in the future. So in terms of the software, that really pretty much covers it up too. Now hitting on the performance, now I'll go ahead and tell you the specs. I'm going to do a little bit of a speed test between them. The iPhone XS has that Apple A12 chip, hexa-core CPU, and 4 gigs of RAM in all the models, where the OnePlus 8 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chipset, an Adreno 650 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM on that base model, and 12 gigs of RAM on that top tier model. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both these. Okay, now let's go and clear out all the apps in the background. Now I wish iPhone and iOS had a thing where you can just click a button and it can delete all these apps, because it's so annoying how I have to reload them every single time. But okay, there we go. So let's start loading up these third-party apps. Let's do let's do Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. And you can see the OnePlus 8 is definitely flowing ahead. The XS is, noticeably behind for sure. We're loaded on the OnePlus 8, and now we're into it on the iPhone XS. So that one actually took quite a bit of time on the iPhone XS. There's a pretty big difference there. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. There we go. OnePlus 8 loaded, followed by the iPhone XS a little bit after. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. OnePlus 8 loaded, iPhone XS a little bit behind. Stack, 3, 2, 1. We had a little bit of a pop-up here, but kind of the ad I think loaded faster on this one than this one. Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. OnePlus 8 loaded faster. Forgot the name of it. Snake vs. Blocks, 3, 2, 1. There we go. OnePlus 8 loaded, followed by the iPhone XS a little bit, behind it. Getting into some gameplay. Let's see if there's a difference. And like I said before, I don't think there's going to be that crazy of a difference between them. Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And you can see, I think the OnePlus 8 was definitely a little bit faster, just slightly faster a little bit. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. I think the XS was faster. That one was actually kind of tricky. Bofa, 3, 2, 1. Okay, possibly the OnePlus 8. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this thing is still loading. It's going to probably take a minute now. There we go, we finally get into it. Doodle Jump, 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah, definitely the OnePlus 8 was faster there. Twitter, 3, 2, 1. OnePlus 8, followed by the iPhone XS. Paper IO 2, 3, 2, 1. And OnePlus 8 faster, followed by the XS right behind it. Getting into some gameplay, let's see if there's a difference, and I don't think there's going to be a difference at all. Let's go and end it off with the Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. And that one pretty much covered that one. I kind of went off for a second, but as you can see, probably the OnePlus 8 was faster. iPhone XS is still loading, and then we're finally into it. So honestly, what I can tell you is between both, I kind of think that the OnePlus 8 is probably the faster one between these two. There was 2 or 3 times where the XS was faster, but definitely more times than not, the OnePlus 8 was the faster phone between these two. So I'll go and do a full in-depth speed comparison at some point. And I'll do a full in-depth camera comparison too, but I'll probably hit on them briefly in this video first. So the iPhone XS has a dual camera setup, the OnePlus 8 has a triple camera setup, 2 12 megapixel sensors, a wide angle lens, and a telephoto lens, where the OnePlus 8 has a 48 megapixel wide angle lens, 16 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and a 2 megapixel macro lens. And I kind of think that the OnePlus 8 camera is good, it definitely gets the job done. But I think the iPhone XS has the better camera sensor for sure. We have a 4K 60 on both, but I kind of think that the photo quality and video quality is better on the iPhone XS, and it's a shame because, sometimes, more camera sensors means the better camera, but that's not necessarily the case. I definitely do think, but when it comes down to both of these, the iPhone XS probably has the better camera between both. And on the front, we have a 7 megapixel camera on the iPhone XS, and a 16 megapixel camera on the OnePlus 8, and even between these two, I'll probably end up setting with the iPhone XS. You have 1080p at 60 frames on this camera, or only 1080p at 30 on the OnePlus 8, so I'll probably end up setting with the iPhone XS for the camera lens. Now hitting on the batteries, this is probably, really kind of a slap in the face for iPhones. We have a 2,658 mAh battery on the iPhone XS, but a 4,300 mAh battery on the OnePlus 8. And when it comes down to both of these, man, the OnePlus 8 definitely has a far better battery life. I mean, this thing will definitely get you from point A to point B, and it's a very good battery life at the end of the day. It can definitely last you for as long as you want to. The iPhone XS really didn't even have that great of a battery life, but this one definitely does have a really good. They both have wireless charging and everything, but the OnePlus 8's battery life, in my opinion, is definitely far better in my opinion. So to kind of sum up the video and say answer the question, man, should you pick up the XS? Should you pick up the OnePlus 8? Well, honestly, there's a lot of strong reasons to pick up the OnePlus 8. You know, I think the software experience is really good. Even the OnePlus 8 is really good too. The cameras are really great. The build quality is awesome. You have IP certification on all models. The size might be a little bit easier to hold for some people, and I think the iPhone XS is still a really good pickup for a ton of people. But you know, the OnePlus 8 is a very, very good phone too. I mean, it's a brand new phone, you know what I mean? So I definitely do think between both. I mean, I wouldn't go get a OnePlus 8 if I had an iPhone XS, and vice versa. If I had a OnePlus 8, I wouldn't get an iPhone XS either. But I definitely do think if you're on a budget, the iPhone XS is probably the better way to go. But if you have a little bit more money to spend, maybe the OnePlus 8, you know, if you like it more. But I still think the XS might be the better bang for your buck. So that really pretty much covers it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys can hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.